Okay, let's take the very next, very basic step here of just saving this workbook. We have the option to go up here in this top navigation bar and click on File. And you'll see that when you click File, all of the keyboard shortcuts are listed over here to the right. So this is a handy way, in fact, anywhere on your operating system to see what the shortcut is for the operation that we're going to do. But in our case here, we want to save this particular file. So we click File, I'll go down to Save As, or we could have held down the Shift key, held down Command, and hit S for Save As. That would have been the shortcut, so we didn't have to use the mouse. Up and ask us what we want to name the file. We can rename it whatever we want, and let's just call it the test file. And we can go over here and choose the location where we want to save it. So for this exercise, you might want to choose desktop, or what I recommend is on a spot where you know that you're going to be playing with files for the rest of this class, that you find a nice folder for yourself or create one here. Maybe you go into Documents and click on New Folder. And let's go ahead and type in Microsoft Excel. And we'll do Starter Guide. Okay. And let's call this, instead of test file, maybe let's do file 1. And click Save. Okay, there you have it. You know that the file has been saved to your computer and you can access it now at any time. Let's prove that by going up here to the top left corner, clicking the X to close the file. And now we'll go down to our Finder tab and go to Documents and double click on File 1, and it will bring up the file that we last created. Let's continue on by going up to File and clicking Save As, and taking a look at the options that Microsoft Excel has for file formats. So the most common format is XLSX. So you'll name the file File1, and on your computer it will be .xlsx by default. This is the most recent version of Microsoft Excel and the way that I recommend saving your files. This is for most cases, most people, when they have Microsoft Excel on their machine, they'll be able to open it up with this file format. However, you might be working with someone that has an old copy of Microsoft Excel on their computer, in which case they may ask you to use this .xls format extension. Of course, again, recommend using XLSX where possible, and only if people request it would you change it to this format. Or maybe you have this older version installed on your own machine. In some other cases, there are some applications that want you to save the file as a CSV or comma separated values file. That's what the CSV stands for. So in cases where you're maybe working with some type of software, maybe it's Qualtrics or some other software that wants you to upload a .csv file, you can do that here by changing it to .csv, and it is just like it sounds. When it saves a version of the file that you've created with CSV, it lists all the data in here. It will take the values in the cells, for example, what's here in A1, maybe whatever we type in here in cell B1, and it combines all of the values into one file that doesn't quite look like an Excel file, looks more like a Word document, and it separates the values by a literal comma. So that's why it's called a comma separated values. There are some other options in terms of file formats. I would recommend staying with these XLSX, .xls, CSV, and potentially use PDF if you plan to send a non-editable copy to someone else, or in the case you'll see later on in this course and in more advanced courses for learning Excel, you might want to save the file as an Excel macro-enabled workbook. This allows you to do advanced things inside Microsoft Excel, which we'll cover again later on in the class, but there are reasons for wanting to use this file format as well. So we'll just go ahead and keep the file named file 1 and saved as .xlsx, but you should know that there are other options available to you. Let me point out here that right now I have my current region selected as cell A1. Okay, so you can see that as I'm in column A, row 1, and the current region I have selected is this green box that indicates where it's currently selected. That's represented also right here in the top left corner to say that right now my current selection is A1, and you can see the text here, ABC, inside the cell. But you should also look at here the formula bar. It shows the same exact thing that you see in A1. For any instance that we have just text or a number in the cell, it's going to look exactly like what's shown right here in A1, and you'll see a matching text right here or number in the formula bar up here at the top. You can move your mouse just subtly down below the formula bar until your cursor turns into one that looks just like this, and you can click and drag, left click and drag down and make the formula bar bigger. And we would use that in cases where we had a lot of text. Maybe we wanted to see something that didn't show up here or got cut off here, and we wanted to see what is displayed up here. Or you'll see later on in the course, if we have formulas in the place of text, then we will see the result of the formula in the cell here for A2 and the written out formula here in the formula bar. So let me just demonstrate that now. I'm not expecting you to follow exactly what I'm doing here, but you can try it out and follow me if you'd like. Let's go to cell A2 and hit equals, and we'll just do 2 plus 2 and hit enter. Now when we hit enter, it executes that formula, and you see now here the difference between cell A1 and cell A2. Here I had text and it represents it right here as ABC, and ABC it matches, but when I hover over the selected region of A2, it's going to show in the formula bar my formula that I typed in, so equals 2 plus 2, and the result is what shows here in cell A2. Only that is 2 plus 2 equals 4, and it's showing 4 here in the cell. So this is really handy. This is what makes Excel so powerful, is that you can do different types of inputs into the cells and get different outputs, and you can still see what the input is here at the top. Now is a good time to stop and really take a look at how I am putting data into a cell, updating that data or modifying it, and then deleting that data. So when I go to a brand new cell, let's say A3, and I start typing in this is new data. This is a string. I'm in edit mode right now. You see my cursor blinking. And when I hit enter, it locks that data into place in cell A3. Now, if I click on cell A3, it's just highlighting the data here. Again, I've shown you this. It's showing it in the formula bar. If I want to edit that data, I have a couple of options. I can go up here and click on the formula bar. Okay, and from here, I can make my edits up at the top. And you can see they're being reflected down here at the bottom. This is new information. And same thing here, if I hit enter, it's going to lock that new information or new data in place. And I can, of course, click and go back to it, or use the up arrow to go back to it. And if I want to delete it, I can simply go to click backspace, or on a Mac, it's the delete key. That takes it out. So let me go through that step one more time. Create is just on any cell, just start typing. To modify, you can go up to the cell, go to the formula bar, or I'm going to show you a different method here where you double click on the cell that you want to edit. So if I left click twice quickly, now I'll go back here and I'll just highlight all of the text. I'm holding down the shift key and hitting the right arrow. And I'm going to say I am modifying the value of that cell. And I hit enter. Notice how the text is spilling over into these other cells. You should know that this text is only actually occupying the information in cell A4. So if I went over to cell B4, you would see that there's nothing in the formula bar. There's no value here, just like in C4, there's no value. I know it kind of looks like B4 and C4 has information in it, but only A4 contains the value. And if you need to modify it, you have to click on that cell and again, either click up here or double click right here. You do also have the option of a keyboard shortcut on a Windows of hitting F2. Again, that's F2 on the keyboard. That will bring you into edit mode. And one last thing, when you're in edit mode, so I just double click there to be in edit mode, you can hit enter, or you can also hit escape to get out of edit mode. So I no longer see the blinking cursor. That shows me that I'm not in edit mode anymore, and I can freely move about the spreadsheet hitting the arrows. Some people get confused sometimes when they're in edit mode. So if I double click again, I'm in edit mode and they hit left and right and they're trying to move around the cells. So they're trying to be navigating the cells right now, hitting left and right and up and down, and they're wondering why isn't it working? And it's because you're in edit mode and you need to hit escape or enter to get out of it. So I'll hit escape here. I'm out of edit mode. I hit up the up arrow and I'm moving back around the spreadsheet. Again, the last option to delete is to hit the delete key. You also have the option of right-clicking in the cell, going down to clear contents, and clicking there. Of course, there are some keyboard shortcuts for that as well, but we'll look at those in future videos. So clear contents gives you the option to delete, or I'm going to hit Command Z on a Mac or Control Z on Windows to get that value back. You could also click here to do undo. This is my favorite key in Microsoft Excel. And so I'll just bring that back and show you another technique. And that is using Command X or Control X for cut. And let's say we didn't want to necessarily delete the cell, we just wanted to move it. That would be the cut and paste operation. That's Command X or Control X on Windows. Or we could also go up here to go to Edit and Cut. And then maybe we could move it down. We'll go click on cell A6 and hit Command V, and all we did was move the location of that information. All right, this is a comprehensive review of creating, editing, and deleting any data in an Excel cell.